Hey, you guys, and welcome to Intentionality. This space is for honesty, healing, and growth. Together, we'll talk about grief, relationships, motherhood, intimacy, and everything in between. Today, I just want to set the tone for what this podcast will be and what I hope it gives to you. For me, intentionality means showing up with a purpose. It means slowing down enough to notice how we're living. Making choices that align with healing even when it's messy, uncomfortable, or scary. I want to talk a little bit about why I started this podcast, right? Because for most of you, you don't know who I am, and I just wanted to create a space where I could speak freely, right? Along with being able to encourage people, and just create a safe space where people could even relate to what I've been through or relate to how I'm feeling about certain things. And I've been through a lot in my 30 years of living. I've experienced a lot, and honestly, the things that I am going to unfold on this podcast are things that I haven't ever even talked to my therapist about, my mom about, even my closest friends, right? So I'm coming to you guys vulnerably and just wanting to create this space where I feel comfortable enough to do so. So this means a lot to me. God placed it on my heart to create this podcast. And it was at a time where I wanted to get a message across, but I didn't know how to do it, right? So I asked God and I prayed and I said, what would that look like for me in today's modern world? So girl, I'm going to be honest with you. I got on ChatGPT, right? And I was like, should I create a podcast? And Chat is your number one best friend. She is always going to hype you up. She was like, yeah, I think it's a great idea. And then I was like, I want it to be centered around just being able to talk about trauma and grief and motherhood and, relationships and situationships and whatever. And she was like, okay, that sounds great. And then I came to her and I was like, you know what? But it has to be faceless. Like, I want to be able to talk to you guys without my close and intimate friends knowing about this, if that makes sense, right? And some may say it sounds crazy, but to me, it gives you guys a way to relate to me without having to actually see me. And eventually I will unveil who I am, because this isn't some crazy psychotic woman who just doesn't want people to know. But I really just want to be able to be vulnerable without being totally judged or scrutinized in my personal life, right? And that matters to me. So the reason that I wanted to come on here today and speak to you guys, and I just want to kind of touch on some things of what it means to be intentional and making sure that you're actually, after being healed, that you're now moving intentionally with your actions, right? You don't want to be in a space where you're now healed, but you're still doing the same things. You're still going to the same places. You're still kind of unintentionally reliving these certain traumas, either that being living in a state that you no longer want to live in because it reminds you of things you don't want to be reminded of, or it can be, hanging out with people who don't really serve you any kind of purpose or who don't really bring true substance to your life. It can be a number of things, right? But I want you guys to be intentional. And as I'm speaking to you guys, I'm speaking to me as well, right? I realized that I had to be intentional with everything that I did, more so because I'm a woman of God and God loves intentional people. He sent us here with a purpose and a reason. And if we're not acting on those purposes and we're not acting on those reasons, we're not living intentionally. And I want to live intentionally, not just for him, but for my child. Like, I have a baby girl, and she deserves to witness a woman who always lived intentionally, right? Who always put her first foot forward, who always did what she had to do, who broke the barriers of certain things and just, lived her authentic self. And when I think about, as she grows up and she goes through life and she's going through school and she's being asked, well, who's your hero? I want her to automatically say me. I want her to be like, my mom is my hero for X, Y, and Z, right? She does this, she does that. Like, I just want her to be able to give me my flowers because I know that I have shown her and displayed to her what it means to live intentionally. So with all of that being said, even after trauma, heartbreak, the loss of a loved one, and baby, we can only be frank, the list goes on. I have been through trauma. I've had my heart broken more than once. I have went through grief at a very young age, and then I experienced it a little more later in my adult life with surrounding my daughter's father. And we'll definitely talk about that a little bit, later in the show, or should I say in another episode. But I want to be able to bring these things to you guys and kind of open up to you guys and let you guys know what it's like to go through these things and share these intimate moments with you, but as well as encouraging you forward on how to get through these things. And I don't want this to be your typical podcast where someone is just spewing all these things to you. I want this to be a podcast where you guys feel inclusive, where you feel that we are a community, where you feel that we stand together as one, where you feel that I am your ally, I'm your sister, I'm your big sister, your little sister, I am your cousin, I'm your best friend, hey bestie. I am all of those things that you need me to be. And I want to create a space where we can be personable with one another. I want to be able to talk to you guys. I want to be able to, hear your thoughts, hear your messages. So we're also going to do a topic, or I wouldn't say a topic, but we're also going to do like a journaling prompt towards the end of every show. I'm going to give you guys a journaling prompt. I believe that journaling is amazing. It is a way to get all of your heavy thoughts out of your mind and down on paper, just to clear your head, right? A lot of therapists use journaling as a strategy and a tactic for being able to heal through your pain and whatever you're going through. And I think it's amazing, to be honest with you, right? So, excuse me. So I encourage you guys, if you have the time, it literally can take, if you have 45 minutes of your day, either morning, night, before you get up for work, maybe you wake up an extra 45 minutes early, or before you go to bed at night. I typically like to journal throughout the day. I'm being honest with you. I like to journal throughout the day, whether it's with a piece of paper and a pen, or I'm just using my notes app within my phone. I'm always jotting down my thoughts, right? Because my thoughts can sometimes overwhelm me, and consume me sometimes. And so it's best to just get them down on paper and be able to actually see everything that I'm thinking and break it up and break it down as to what this means, how this goes, and things of that nature. So the journaling prompt for today is actually going to be, hold on guys, I actually wrote this part down. So the journaling prompt that I'm going to leave you guys with today is, what does intentionality mean to me right now in this season? What does it mean for you to be intentional? What does that look like for you? Are you wanting to pursue a career? Are you wanting to, be intentional about your passions? Are you wanting to be more intentional about parenting? Whatever that looks like for you in your life, in your world right now, I would definitely like for you guys to jot them down. I am going to create a Discord free of charge. I'm going to create a Discord where we can come into this Discord and we can talk about our journaling prompts. A new episode will be released every Sunday, God willing. That is the schedule that I have set forth for myself. I'm going to try to air it around 5 to 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So with that being said, we can chit chat about the journal prompt maybe midweek, maybe like Wednesday, give you guys a little bit of time to be able to work on that and journal it down, hear the podcast and things of that nature. But with that being said, I do want to talk about not feeling like you have to be perfect to be intentional, right? Intentional is not about perfection. That is a myth. I don't know if anyone has ever said it, but I'm going to let you know that that is the myth. You do not have to be perfect to be intentional. All you have to do is block out the noise and dance in the room like no one is watching. To be frank, being intentional is all about having balls. Like, girl, do you got the balls? Do you got the balls to stand up against adversity? Do you have the balls to say, you know what? I own who I am. I own my trauma. I own my grief. I own it all. And you know what? In spite of all of that, I am still this badass woman, this badass career woman, this badass mom. Like, I am still that girl. Like, I am that it girl. And because I am that girl, I am going to be intentional about what I produce, what I put out there, what I do, the things that I achieve and the things that I go through. I am going to be intentional about it all, right? So with that also being said, and I feel like I say that a lot, but we're going to forget about who's watching. We're going to forget the naysayers and all of that because none of that matters. None of that matters. All of that is irrelevant nonsense, right? Nobody cares about that. All we care about and all we want to discuss is being intentional. I want to give you the permission to grow one intentional step at a time. Remember, I said, I am your friend. I am your sister. I am your cousin. I am your bestie. I am anything that you need me to be in this moment. I want this to be a space that allows us to all be vulnerable. I'm coming to you guys as vulnerable as possible. I am ripping the layers off of an onion, for a better lack of term, and just being who I am totally. So thank you for being here for the very first episode of Intentionality. If this resonates with you, follow the podcast and share it with someone who may need it. But until next time, live with intentionality. XOXO. Bye, you guys.